Daily Bits presents 10 most poorest countries that exist in the world you can't imagine. Before get started, please subscribe the channel for more videos. Typically, the wealth of a country is measured by its gross domestic product, GDP, per capita, which is the purchasing power of all goods and services produced in a country, divided by its population. In essence, this defines the purchasing power of a single person within the country. Number 10. Guinea. To begin this list is Guinea, with a GDP per capita of $523. Guinea hasn't seen a period of economic stability since the 1990s, when their mining and agricultural industries did them well. Since then, however, Guinea has fallen victim to several socio-political crises, which rapidly decayed the state of their economy. Number 9. Ethiopia. Ethiopia is holding a GDP per capita of $505. This is a result of Ethiopia's large population and dependence on a poorly funded, underdeveloped, and vulnerable agricultural industry as a staple in their economy. Number 8. The Gambia. Next on the list is the Gambia, both one of the African continent's smallest and poorest nations, with an area of roughly 11,000 square kilometers and a population of roughly 1.8 million people, with a GDP per capita of $488, and over half of the population living well under the poverty line. The people of the Gambia are subject to such a poor standard of living that the nation falls into a hunger season when rainfall is at its peak. Number 7. Democratic Republic of the Congo. Directly juxtaposing the previous entry in the list, the Democratic Republic of the Congo is Africa's second-largest country, holding a staggering population of roughly 77 million people. A large population isn't always a good thing, however, especially with poorer nations, this just means there is less money to go around. As a result of this, with a GDP per capita of $484, a large portion of the nation's people remain unemployed, and their lack of money thus results in their living within greatly inadequate living conditions. Number 6. Madagascar. With a population of more than 20 million people, Madagascar has a GDP per capita of $463, with about 70% of the nation's people living under the poverty line. Number 5. Liberia. The GDP per capita of the war-torn nation stands at $454, and in 2010, it was estimated that more than 80% of the nation's people were living with less than $1.25 per day, with low yields due to old farming technologies, as well as having overall poor infrastructure. Number 4. Niger. The development category of poverty has unfortunately remained rather stagnant, keeping the nation's GDP per capita at $415. Unfortunately, the economic sources of Niger can easily be devastated by random shifts in climate and weather, and thus Niger has struggled in developing themselves economically. Number 3. Central African Republic. Because of the poor infrastructure and governance that the nation has to deal with, only about 4% of the actual arable land that the nation holds is actually used. As a result, the majority of the working population that works within the industry suffer immensely, holding the nation to a GDP per capita of $333. Number 2. Burundi. The nation ravaged by war holds very little farmable land, and any land that may be used for small-scale farming is still fragile due to the vulnerability to shifting climates and weather conditions. With the population growing rapidly, food prices rising, and a GDP per capita of $267, Burundi places as the second poorest country in the world. And number 1. Malawi. Because the nation is unable to develop in general, They're for all intents and purposes stuck with trying to drive their economy using only the most primitive levels of agriculture with common weather variations, as well as injuries and fatalities facilitated by poor healthcare. Malawi's world lowest GDP per capita of $226 doesn't seem like it will be rising too significantly anytime soon.